Welcome to Real Talk Real Women. My name is Miriam Khalladi, and today we have the owner and CEO of women's MMA lifestyle clothing line, Fight Chicks, Elisabeth Nuesser, on the show. Welcome, Elisabeth. How are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your time. So, Elisabeth, what got you interested in mixed martial arts?
Well, we've been in business about 7 years now, and my husband is the one that, Jacob, he introduced me to the sport. He's been a huge fan of mixed martial arts his whole life, and he's been training since he was real young in karate and jeet kune do and jiu-jitsu and whatnot. So when him and I met, he introduced me to, um, his passion, which is martial arts, and I quickly became engulfed in the sport and realized that there was a lack of female attention to the apparel side of it. And as a fan and someone who I genuinely enjoy watching the fights, I kind of came up with the idea one night. My husband's a designer, and we started collaborating some ideas and just wanted to do it as kind of like a side hobby. And it kind of took its own, toll. And within a few years, it became a full-time business. So,
Amazing. Amazing. You founded Fight Chicks in 2006. How did that start out, and what's a Fight Chick all about?
well, it started, like I said, before my husband introducing me to the sport. And I realized that there was so many male clothing lines, but there was nothing for women. And there's so many women that are involved in the sport, whether they're a fighter or the wife of a fighter supporting him, or a sister or a cousin, grandmothers. There's all these women supporting our men, but there's nothing for us. And was so many clothing lines for guys. And I would watch the fights, the UFC fights on TV, and I would see so many women in the stands, and they weren't wearing anything for us. So I wanted to come up with this idea where women could, support our guys and wear something that was just for us. So then, like I said, I came up with the name, and then my husband did the logo and the website, and it kind of started taking its own turn. But we're not just martial arts based. We're a women's empowerment brand. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that to you and brought that up in this interview. Our roots are in mixed martial arts, but we've branched out in the last 7 years as a women's empowerment brand, because so many women identify themselves through our logo that aren't necessarily fight fans, but they love our logo because it makes them feel strong and sexy and confident. So that's why we have Be Sexy, Be Strong, Empowering Women Worldwide.
Great. On your website, you write about mixed martial artists being undervalued and that many of them are having to work full-time jobs. Do you feel that this is still the case?
I do feel that with a lot of the fighters, I do think that they have to do that, especially in the beginning. They're training and they have to make ends meet. They're struggling just as much as anyone else right now, especially, within the economy here. So I think that a lot of them do still have to do side work, or if they're in gyms, they're training classes, or they're doing whatever they can to still embrace their passion and their sport and what they love and their job. But I think that a lot of them do still have to do full-time jobs because they have to make, until they get into the big time, I guess, and making more money, then I think that they are going to have to do, a lot of them have to do what they have to do to provide for themselves and their family.
And why do you feel that female fighters are struggling harder than the men, while the female fan base is as large as it is?
Well, I think right now we're really getting to an interesting spot in the industry because women are in the UFC now, and there is shows like Invicta. They are putting on all-female events, and I think that it's been such a struggle because there's so many of these sports, whether football or baseball, basketball. It's just generally that it is male dominated, and I think that because of it always being that way within the sports, women were always having to work harder to kind of prove ourselves a little bit that we can do it too, that we're just as good. We can put on amazing fights. or if a woman is on a women's basketball team, that they can still shoot 3-pointers just as much as the guys. So I think that we just constantly always have to, keep evolving from that perspective, and keep pushing to show that we're here too. And I think that a lot of within the mixed martial arts industry, I think that we've done a really good job of it. I mean, I think that Gina Carano helped, get women's name out there. Ronda Rousey is doing a fabulous job. Misha Tate. There's so many, Chris Cyborg. There's so many women that are proving that just because I'm a woman or a female, that I can still compete and fight and do the same thing. And now that Dana White has embraced it, which has been, I knew this day would eventually come, and everybody argued with me, but I knew it would come. I think that the women fan base is getting even more bigger than it was before, because now everyone's embracing it, and I think it's awesome.
I love how you explained that the women's voice in sport were not being heard. As you know, it's my mission with this show to amplify the voices of inspirational women like you. What was the driving force behind you wanting to create something that would be a way for them to be empowered and heard?
I think a lot of it stems from my past, the way I was raised. I grew up with 6 brothers, and I'm the only girl, so I had 5 older and 1 younger. And my brothers never thought that I could really do what they were always doing. Whether they're outside playing, flag football in the mud and rain. They thought, oh, you have to stay inside. You're a girl. You can't do it. And I would, sure enough, be out there and getting my hands dirty and mud splashed on my face, because I wanted to do what they were doing. Just because I was a girl, it doesn't mean that I can't do what they're doing. So I think I've always kind of had that push ahead, push a little further, let me be a little louder. So, raise my hand longer, so everybody would see that just because I'm a girl, it doesn't matter. I can still, play G.I. Joes with you guys. It doesn't matter. So I think a lot of it comes from that. And I also had my daughter at a young age as well. And I think going through that experience when I was a teenager helped me, want to prove that just because I had her at a young age, that I could still be a good mom and provide for her and do a good job. So I think from those big life experiences from my past and the way I was raised and around a male-dominated, atmosphere, being with all my brothers, I think that I've always had that female empowerment to say, just because I've gone through these things or was raised this way or always have had to prove myself a little bit, doesn't mean that, that I'm just as good or not as good or better. And I think I've just inspired through a lot of women having that relation and showing and saying that through Fight Chicks, that we are, empowering women, that we're sisters helping each other, and just making sure that that my voice is heard through the company.
And you're doing a wonderful job, Elisabeth.
Thank you.
Today, Fight Chicks is about more than just mixed martial arts, and it has grown to become a lifestyle brand for the women who will be the future leaders of the world. What are your goals for the coming years?
Well, this year, I think in the last couple years, because we've been pushing for so long for our voice to be heard, especially in the mixed martial arts industry, to show that we support all aspects of women, whether fighter, fan, or significant other or family member of fighters, to say that we're here to stay, we're here to support the female side of it. But then we realized, which I mentioned before, is that our logo is very empowering, and it touches, breast cancer survivors, like my mom, and it's that fighting spirit, that I'm a Fight Chicks because I feel this way every day, or I'm a Fight Chicks because I battled this, or I'm a Fight Chicks because, it makes me feel good about myself when I put your shirt on. It makes me feel like I have a little chip on my shoulder. So I think within the last few years, we focused a lot of the empowerment side, but still catered to the MMA industry. And now that women are coming up in the in the UFC and Invicta and are going in local shows, women are becoming more prominent. We've kind of circled back this past year and said, okay, let's go back to our roots. Let's go back to where we started and where this passion originated from. So this next year, we're really focusing on some designs that are catering a little bit more to the martial arts fan, the everyday one, but we're also still coming out with some really cool designs that appeases to the other crowds. So we have like a little pie of our core fan base, and then we have a bigger pie, which is the empowerment brand of it. So we kind of try and meet it a little bit in the middle, and I think we're doing a really good job of it. We're coming out with some really cool tank tops, some camouflage stuff. Camouflage is really big right now, and we're working on a performance line for the athletes or women that want to work out. So we're working on that right now, but I think we're in a good direction. We're really focusing on our website and making sure that people go directly to fightchicks.com. We're not in many retail stores, and if we do, we'll have exclusivity agreements with them. We just want people really to focus on going to the website and kind of using that as a sounding board and creating that relationship with the customers to be long lasting.
Mixed martial arts is still a primarily male dominant sport. What is it like to be a female CEO in an environment like that?
Well, I get that question a lot. I think that it's not as I think difficult as maybe people would think. I think because I do have a background being around more men than women. I think walking into a room with 100 women is more intimidating to me than walking into a room with 100 men. It's just something I think I've been used to. I understand, the male demographic a little bit better because I have that. I think I already have that advantage, being that I grew up around a lot of boys. So I haven't really had, much disadvantage with it. I think that I feel more comfortable talking with the guys, and I've always been kind of a tomboy growing up as well. Have had a beauty side, but being that, I think I do feel more comfortable being around them or talking to them and relating them. I've had a couple run-ins with a few people that I've had to talk to them and really, really push what Fight Chicks is and what it means. And I think a lot back in the, I would say about 5 years ago, a lot of the fighters were asking, why would you do this? This isn't a women's sport. This is for men. That's stupid. And so I look at that and just say, that's fine, because it's fueling my fire to show them that the females can do this, that the women can be a part of the sport. And it's been I look at more as an inspiration rather than a downfall. And I've had so many men be so appreciative of it, because they're like, all these fighters saying, oh my gosh, can you send my wife out stuff? Because this is great. She was always looking for something for women, and you're the one that capitalized on it. So I kind of like it. I kind of feel like we're good. We're a little bit ahead of everybody else, and we saw something in this market that nobody else saw, and we pushed and persevered, and we're here. So,
what is the most valuable piece of advice you could give to other female entrepreneurs watching today?
I would say if you're sitting around or whatever's going on in your life, and you have that one idea, your heart will speak to you, and your mind just has to follow. And if you have that one idea that you've been thinking about, or when you're sitting alone and there's that one idea, that one thing that you're constantly going back to, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. You need to follow that feeling. You need to follow that idea. You need to follow your passion. I firmly believe that if you do what you love and love what you do, you will be successful. And successful being, the way that you want to be. Sometimes it's really not about making $1 million or, success at your level and what you want it to be. And I think that you should just really, really believe in your passion, do what you love, and, you know, follow that idea, follow that intuition, because women have a very strong intuition. And I firmly believe that I would not be here if it wasn't for me following that intuition, believing in myself, and telling myself every day, this is what I'm gonna do. And I think that, that really makes a huge impact on women around me, because they see you're doing it every day, and I'm so proud of you. And I said, but you can do it too. You just got to find that drive and just do it every single day. And it takes time. It's a lot of hard work, but that's with anything. And I think that if you get up every day and do what you love, you will be successful.
If someone would tell you that the two of us would be looking back at your incredible success these past few years back in 2005, would you have believed them? And you have had to overcome a lot to get where you are today.
No, I don't think so. I primarily I still do hair on the side, so I'm a cosmetologist, so I do that. I've been doing that for 11 years, and that's something that's been a huge passion of mine, and I've realized that I've always thought I'd have to choose both. I have to either do hair or fight chicks. And then I've realized that I don't have to choose, that I can do both. There's so many people and women out there always, multitasking and doing what they love. So I chose to do both of them. But never in a million years had I ever thought that I would be running a worldwide clothing line. It just wasn't, it's just something that I did not think that was in my cards. And I think that because of meeting my husband and embracing his passion, what he wants to do with martial arts, with his own personal goals and our career goals, is running it as a married couple. I never would have, if someone would have asked me years ago, where do you see yourself? I would say I'd be having my own salon and, doing hair, and maybe one day I still will do that. But I never thought that I would be, and I think there would be as successful as we are now. But I really believe that because of us being good, genuine people and putting that positive vibe out there and making those very strong connection relationships with the people in the industry and also our fans, our customer base, I think that speaks wonders, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So I think that is what has really helped us make us more successful. And yeah.
And how important are the people around you when it comes to your success?
It is really important. I have, my husband is, he's my partner, my best friend, and my husband. And we work very well together. I mean, we kind of butt heads once in a while, but that's, I think, to be expected. My brother, who helps with marketing and events and promotions, so it's a little kind of family owned, and he'll help with things. We also have a huge team of, I kind of call it like our Fight Chicks Army, because we have so many people that support us and love us, and they want to, we get our fans involved, and if they want to do anything, then we'll send out stickers or promo items or whatnot to them. And I also have one of my best friends. She's in San Francisco, California. Her name is Tamara. Her nickname is Miss Rara. I met her 6 months after we started Fight Chicks on MySpace, and we became, just being fans and women of the industry, we became best friends, and she's helped us, spread the Fight Chicks word out there and get people to know about our company and what we're doing. So I think it's having that core group and all of us having one common interest within mixed martial arts, but also good people. I think that we've been able to, they've been huge supporters, and we've been able to get this far just from, I mean, there is a lot more people, but as far as our core group, that would be it.
Looking back, What has been the biggest lesson you've learned this far on your journey?
That's a good question. I'd have to, I think one of the biggest obstacles is being a mom and trying to run two businesses and still balance out being a wife and a mom to my kids and having time for them or whatnot. And I think that I've done a pretty good job of it. And I think that within the last, I would say, year or so, I've realized that there's always tomorrow. Sleep is good. And I think that that biggest obstacle is knowing when to stop, when to say, okay, let's not do Fight Chicks anymore. Or let's not talk about Fight Chicks for Sunday. Because you get so engulfed and so wrapped up in owning your own business, you need some downtime. So I think that's something I've really done for myself and my family, and being a mom this past year, is saying, okay, I know I have to get this email or get back to this customer or whatnot, but making sure that, I have some time with my kids before they go to sleep is more important. And I think that we've done a really good job of balancing that out. But I think that's been my biggest obstacle with the business and personally, is trying to divide my time between making sure I can run the company accurately, and be a good mom to our kids.
Where can people go online to learn more about you and Fight Chicks?
Well, our website, go to fightchicks.com, CHIX, so people remember. You can also follow me on Twitter, so it's twitter.com/fightchicks. On Facebook, please like our page. And if you also go to our website, fightchicks.com, you can sign up for our email list, and every person that signs up for the email list, they get a coupon code through our email, and they get 25% off their first order. But yeah, so if you go to Facebook, Twitter, I'm always interacting on both of them. I love Twitter. It's amazing. I've met so many cool people. And I like posting stuff on Facebook because then I can interact with our customers and tell them, what's going on and whatnot. I don't just post stuff about Fight Chicks. So I really make it family oriented. I post stuff about my kids and our life and, daily stuff. So
I will make sure to put all the links below this video.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Is there anything you feel we've missed that you would like to talk about today?
We are going to be at the UFC Fan Expo in the first weekend in July. So we will have a booth there, and we'll be debuting some of our new items. So I wanted to promote that, and we're also going to be having some signings, and I'm still working on that, so that'll be to be announced. But that's our big event that's coming up, and I'm really excited about it because it's the first expo within the UFC in Las Vegas, and women are now in the UFC. So we've done every expo that they've had, and so this is exciting. So I wanted to promote it.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Beth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Khalladi, and I will see you on the next episode of Real Talk, Real Women.